Welcome to our series on the life of Saint Teresa of Jesus. Before we begin, a quick note. This series is based on historical religious texts. Any discussion of past events is for educational and historical context, and not an endorsement of those actions. I was born to a father and mother who were devout and feared God. Our Lord also helped me with His grace. All this should have been enough to make me good, if I hadn't been so wicked. My father loved reading good books and kept them in Spanish so his children could read them. These books, along with my mother's efforts to teach us our prayers and devotion to Our Lady and certain saints, started me thinking seriously around the age of 6 or 7. It also helped that I never saw my parents respect anything but goodness. They were very good people. My father was incredibly charitable to the poor, compassionate toward the sick, and even to servants. He could never bring himself to keep slaves because he felt so much pity for them. A slave belonging to one of his brothers once stayed in our house, and he treated her with the same tenderness as his own children. He used to say he couldn't bear the pain of seeing that she wasn't free. He was also a man of great truthfulness. No one ever heard him swear or speak ill of anyone. His life was utterly pure. My mother was also a woman of great goodness, though she lived with many illnesses. She was remarkably pure in all her ways. Despite her great beauty, it was never known that she made any account of it. Even though she died at only 33, she dressed like a much older woman. She was very calm and had great sense. The sufferings she endured in her life were severe, and her death was most Christian. We were 3 sisters and 9 brothers. By God's mercy, all of them resembled their parents in goodness, except for me, though I was my father's most cherished child. Before I began to offend God, I think He had some reason to cherish me. It fills me with sorrow now when I think of the good desires the Lord inspired in me and what a wretched use I made of them. On top of that, my brothers never stood in the way of my service to God. One of my brothers was close to my age, and he was the one I loved the most, though I was fond of all of them, and they of me. He and I used to read the lives of saints together. When I read about the martyrdom the saints endured for the love of God, it struck me that seeing God was a cheaply purchased prize. I developed a great desire to die a martyr's death, not out of any love for God that I was aware of, but so I could quickly reach the great joys I read about, the ones reserved in heaven. My brother and I would discuss how we could become martyrs. We decided to go together to the country of the Moors, begging our way for the love of God, so that we might be beheaded there. I believe our Lord had given us enough courage, even at such a young age, if we could have found a way to go, but our biggest obstacles seemed to be our father and mother. It astonished us greatly to read that both pain and bliss were everlasting. We talked about this often, and we took pleasure in repeating, "Forever, ever, ever." By constantly saying these words, our Lord was pleased to instill in me a lasting impression of the way of truth, even as a child. Once I realized it was impossible to go somewhere to be put to death for God's sake, my brother and I decided to become hermits instead. In an orchard at our house, we tried our best to build hermitages by piling up small stones, but they would just fall down immediately, so we found no way of achieving our wish. Even now, I feel a sense of devotion when I think about how God gave me in my early youth what I later lost through my own fault. I gave alms when I could, which wasn't much. I tried to be alone to say my prayers, and I said many, especially the rosary. My mother had a great devotion to it, and had made us the same way. I used to love playing with other children, building little monasteries as if we were nuns. I think I wanted to be a nun, though not as much as I wanted to be a martyr or a hermit. I remember when my mother died. I was about 12 years old, maybe a little less. When I started to understand my loss, I went in my sorrow to an image of Our Lady. With many tears, I begged her to be my mother. I did this in my simplicity, and I believe it helped me. I have found through experience that the Royal Virgin helps me whenever I commend myself to her, and in the end, she has brought me back to herself. It distresses me now to think about what kept me from being earnest in those good desires I started with. O my Lord, since you are determined to save me, may it be your majesty's pleasure to do so, and to give me so many graces. Why was it not also your pleasure that this dwelling place where you must constantly reside should not have become so defiled? It pains me even to say this, my Lord, because I know the fault is all my own. You left nothing undone to make me wholly yours, even from my youth. When I want to complain about my parents, I can't. I saw nothing in them but good and care for my well-being. As I grew up, I began to discover the natural gifts the Lord had given me, and they were said to be many. But when I should have given him thanks for them, I used every single one, as I will now explain, to offend him. That's the end of Chapter 1. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, or follow us. You can find us on Rumble, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. We'll see you in the next chapter.